This should be fun.
We can try to introduce ourselves while also as a test to make sure that chat thinks that audio bounce is okay.
I'm Kenta. I'm still here from last run.
I'm Dragondarch. I'm the one running AM2R.
And my name is Carry Master. I've organized a Metroid Marathon. I'm just here chilling.
I'm Dr. M64, and this is my little game that these awesome people are trying to play.
Okay, I think we're good. The chat says that we're good, so
Awesome.
I'm ready to set the timer. So give me a countdown, Dragondarch.
All right. Let me just get a file cleared open. All right. In 3.
You know, Doc, I've actually been on your forum for a long time.
In 3, 2, 1,
Sorry,
go.
I didn't think we were that ready.
All right, so everyone, welcome to AM2R. This is the remake to the game you just watched MTI completely crush. Similar to the original Metroid 2, rolling is faster than running, so you're going to see me doing a lot of that. In the call with us, we also have the creator of this game, Dr. M64.
Hello.
I'm sure he's got a lot of things that he'd like to mention about this game, like from a technical standpoint, and just things like his vision for it and everything.
Well, one of the few things that were completely wrong on the first tech demo was that the morph ball was actually slower than running. So it wasn't too long after I actually got many complaints about Metroid purists. So that was pretty much the beginning into my quest for a faithful game engine, you know.
All right. As a Metroid 2 runner, I can say it seems like you've done a pretty dang good job preserving the feel of the original game. It's a bit brighter, but that's to be expected with like the Zero Mission style graphics, and I don't complain at all. It still feels just as nice and it's very good.
Well, thank you very much. The main concept about this whole color thing is trying to make the first part of the game colorful, as inviting the player into what's supposed to be a fun and interesting exploration adventure, and then save the darkness, moodiness, and the grittier tone for the later parts when shit's got real, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that even in the initial area, you've already changed the layout some. You removed some rooms and changed like the scaling of others. What makes you decide how far you're gonna vary from the original in a given area?
It's pretty much a perception thing. I try to remember what it felt like when I played it some time ago, and try to do something in the lines of those. I take some scaling liberties in some places. In some other places, I used the map as a reference. So every time, for example, every save room is one square in the map, and from then on, I try to respect the scaling accordingly in most cases.
Here's a bit of a personal question, because this is big into my personal interest, because I actually want to compose music for video games one day. What makes you decide which songs you're going to remix? Since I've noticed that you've been sticking to that since the original Metroid 2 didn't have much of a soundtrack for most areas. What makes you decide what songs you're going to remix for a given area?
Again, it's perception, mostly. I wanted to try to be faithful to the original, mostly in the first area, and then started deviating with new, mechanics and places. And this also applies to music. You may have noticed that up to the first part, including this the first area and the breaking outs, it's a remix of the original song. You know, it's a little bit simplified music-wise, but making it more traditional and prime sounding might be more fitting to the nowadays audience. You know, from then on, I try to just choose whatever music fits the place it tries to represent. It's just to set the ambience and the atmosphere.
I'm actually friends with Darren, the man who did the other remix of the Chosen Runes theme. We were just talking about that the other day.
Ah, yes, he did an awesome job. I instantly fell in love with his tunnel song version. It's very nice. The original song, the original arrangement, I mean, is it's a little longer. It has much more variety, and I just rearranged it to fit the atmosphere of the breeding grounds. That's it. But it is a lovely composition.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be glad to hear you say that. I've been trying to get his own confidence back up in music as of late.
I'll be happy to hear some of your work whenever you want. So.
Why, thank you. So I've noticed that, like, what made you decide to reuse zero mission graphics as opposed to going all original? Ease of use, or just is there any another reason?
Actually, it was just practicality. You know, this was a very, very different project when it started. It wasn't as ambitious as it is now. It was just to make Metroid 2 with zero mission graphics. That's pretty much it. And after, when the game became a little bit popular and started getting contributions from many talented people, the whole scope of what this project could really be kept evolving. So yes, it started with strictly zero mission assets, and it's slowly getting original stuff made. And someday, I hope all of the graphics are going to be made for this project from scratch.
Dragondarch, do you have any questions? I feel like we've kind of been leaving you out.
No, not right now. I'm just trying to focus.
Yeah, he seems
I'm
pretty
sorry.
busy.
Fair enough. So what made you choose Metroid 2?
Pretty much what was
As opposed to, say, Super Metroid, or even Metro, or like another version of Zero Mission, or there's lots of other games you could have chosen. What made you choose Metroid 2?
well, Zero Mission was already done. It's a very, very well done game. Super Metroid is a classic. You don't mess with the classic. And I haven't played any Prime games by that time. I recently got a Wii U, and I did play the Prime games not so long ago. And it felt like a natural choice. It is a game I did play, I did enjoy, and I did want to see with modern gameplay. So, but then again, it was just a project I was doing in my free time at my recording studio, and it was a nice way to have something to do and to learn programming also.
All right. I'd like to take a break from my own questions and ask the chat. Is there anything you want to ask the doc while he's here on stream? Any questions about the game? You're going to need a second, though, because there's a 20-second Twitch delay, so I got to wait for them to be able to answer.
That Twitch delay.
Hello. This is a nice opportunity to actually apologize live when Dragondarch is going to be finding game-crashing bugs live.
Wait a minute. He's only supposed to have 7 health.
All right, here's one. What was the hardest part of the game so far for you to remake? Like, what took the most effort?
So
Maybe
far,
hit the atmosphere.
you mean a general aspect or a physical level blocks in the game?
Probably whatever you feel is a better answer.
It's this latest area 3, that's going to be appearing in a couple of minutes, was very challenging, technically speaking. There's many gimmicks in there. All of them took quite a while to develop and test and balance. And I didn't think that's one area that I really underestimated regarding development time. And also one thing that, as a general aspect, that was a really complex challenge was to balance trying to find time to sort out things in my life and try to get motivation and time to actually work on the project. There were times that we all have rough times in our lives, and AM2R was present in many stages of my life. So right now things are pretty bright and going well, and hopefully the game will be completed soon-ish.
All right, here's a bit of a less serious question. How do you come up with your April Fool's jokes?
I completely improvised them out of sheer desperation. Except the other M1, that was a little bit more premeditated. But yes, I asked myself what would be pissing off the casual visitor of my humble little blog.
All right, another one is let's see. How important was Metroid 2 in your childhood?
Actually, it wasn't that much of a presence in my childhood. There's, I did play it on my Super Game Boy with lights out and with a printed map on my hands. But when I was a kid, I actually didn't have Metroid 2. I actually got it when I got my first Game Boy Advance, and I was getting Game Boy games really cheap. But no, it's I don't have any personal things with this game. It just happened to be a good thing to remake at the time when I was freely choosing my next programming project. And then I started to, as I started to analyze analyzing this game seriously, studying the map layout and actually playing it for real, I did start to appreciate it as a very interesting game. But yes, I did discover it in a much more recent stage in my life.
Oh, that's very interesting. And here's actually another really good one. What's your stance on bug fixing versus leaving them there for speedrunning?
I tried to. There's been a couple of very awesome bugs that were very useful, and I felt tempted to leave them in. Oh, that was a nice, awesome Arachnos fight. I actually feel sorry for the little guy. I'm very thorough with fixing bugs that crash the game or just are pretty much annoying. And I do try to make things that are going to be useful in speedruns. There are a couple of shortcuts here and there. And there was a suggestion that Dragondarch made the other day that's about the sequence breaking with lava diving. Right now the game is strictly linear. There are roadblocks that appear at the bottom of the lava lakes, and I am considering to actually contemplate the possibility of doing those sequence breaks here in AM2R. it will be requiring some rewriting of how the lava level changing code works, but it will be possible, and it will be some neat trick that speedrunners will be able to make. Zero Mission was very thoughtful about the tools that speedrunners were going to be having. I will try to do the same. I'm not sure if I'm going to be succeeding that much.
Yeah. You know, this is really great commentary. I couldn't make it up.
Hey, last minute commentary can sometimes be the best.
Indeed. It's more natural.
Sorry for my accent. If you don't understand
Oh,
anything,
no,
just let me
no.
know.
It's really,
fine.
it's fine. You're completely understandable. Your English is great.
Thanks.
It's really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much for inviting me. This guy is very skillful. He should be a speedrunner.
Here's a question for you that I've actually been wondering myself for a while. Will there ever be anything like a level editor or maybe an engine release, or are you planning to keep it kind of your own thing?
At least regarding AM2R, no. But I do have plans to expand the Metroid Confrontation series, and that might include an open level format. That means I shall be doing level editor and level format that's external, does not require or rely on GameMaker, and that will be easy enough to expand and or make dedicated or alternative level editors that work even better than the things I do. And yes, that's pretty much the whole concept. Confrontation is supposed to be some sort of simulator that's used to train the Galactic Federation soldiers. So there's pretty much endless possibilities about what content can create and be played by people, you know?
Here's my question. How do you come up with the gimmicks for the new areas, like the water lowering fans here?
It all depends on what the theme for the area is going to be, generally speaking. I do have very few elements in the original to actually imagine what these places' function is going to be practically, if there were real installations. And for example, in this case, this place kind of looked like a sewer in the original. It had water, with no physics, but water at least. And it felt natural that this place would be some sort of water treatment facility. Oh, nice trick. I can pull that off. So it really depends on the function that the place has or would have. And then the other factor is am I actually able to code it? Does my skill allow for this to be created or not? Up to this point, this was the case. I hope it continues to be.
Funnily enough, I'm a Metroid 2 speedrunner. My nickname for this area was actually the sewers. So you hit that nail right on the head, at least to my understanding.
Okay. I was a little bit of it was a little bit of a stretch to call the next place a factory. I actually tried to imagine what would be at that particular level in the cave system to be practical and functional for the Joshua. And this also is completely respectful with the original source material and the whole story revolving the Metroid universe. As you may have known, the Joshua in this planet were engineering Metroids to actually combat the X-Menace, and having facilities that actually maintain themselves and provide robot drones for various tasks seem to be something necessary, you know.
One of my questions I was wondering, like, this is just a personal question, but why didn't you make, say, the water treatment plant area look more ruined? What made you decide to kind of leave it as it was?
Shows those space magic.
That's the that's the answer to everything. But first of all, I still don't have the manpower or skills to make deteriorated tiles for most places. Most of these are pretty much modified from zero emission in some places and fusion in some others. The other part that I could try to use as an excuse would be that it isn't clear how much time has passed since the Chozo left this place. Supposedly, there was we actually see Chozo alive in the Metroid comics, Metroid manga, I mean. So there's nothing that implies that a long time has happened between the creation of the Metroids here and the space pirate incidents. So it's possible that it's fairly recent.
I'd be willing to argue that if the Chozo still existed, then why would the Federation have had to rediscover the planet with the Metroids? But that's Metroid lore argument. That really doesn't have a place here.
Yes, it's a very complex topic, but everything here is open for improvement, and the details are left to be added in many places. So what you're seeing here is not final, but as for now, it's just technical limitations on my skill and the time that I do have for contributors that give me a hand,
Just a quick note, an aside to the chat, I want to let them know, I'm not going to ask the doctor any questions that would involve spoilers for the actual game itself. I'm only going to ask him questions that would, say, like, involve design, philosophy, and stuff like that. Because I want you guys to experience the game on your own, so I'm not going to try and have him be ruining development secrets. Because they keep asking about, like, secret X-Parasite bosses or hidden areas or anything like that, and I'm going to let that... I'm just going to leave that in the chat.
I can actually clarify some things. For example, there's not going to be X-Parasites at all. There's not going to be any space pirates at all. I do get this question all the time. And that's pretty much it. I'm sticking to the original story, and I'm not doing any extended thingies after the ending or nothing. Right now, I'm focused on actually finishing the game, and we'll see what the future brings.
All right. Well, that's nice and informative. I just didn't want to, in case there was anything like that, I didn't feel like having you just spoil it. I felt like the players should kind of find out on their own.
We're heading into Area 3 right now, so I think we should commentate on stuff as we stumble upon them.
Yes. As a Metroid 2 runner, I will say that a lot of these areas do look right. Like, you've done a very good job in keeping the feel of the original.
Thank you very much. Any criticisms or anything that you would like to see different, Sarah?
Not too much. Maybe, like, try to make, from what I've seen of Area 3, you might want to interconnect it a bit more. It seems you're doing pretty well on that, though. Maybe, I just don't really have that many complaints. Like, notice, I actually have to look for things to complain about if you want to hear a complaint. That's how good this is.
Okay, you are a very gentle person, sir. I appreciate it.
Most people would disagree.
All right, so we have Torizo, which is the new mini-boss added in this area, guarding Space Jump.
Ooh. Wow. Added to Torizo, huh? Sweet.
Yes, this was very interesting to date. This was based on a contribution that Mr. Maker Delaware R made a couple of years ago, and it was very traditional in its design. And one thing that I did want to do at first was to make a bone animation engine, just to make it look more natural and fluid, just like nowadays many games do that. once I realized it was going to be a pain in the ass to go, and I wasn't really working anytime soon, I said, fuck it, let's make it into a keyframe animation, just like the original. So we are
Gundam
having
chose
this-
so much. I just wanted to say that. This is awesome. This is cool as hell.
It is. It was so fucking awesome to see it finished and actually working with new wings and stuff. The effects were pretty tough to tweak and make it look right and positioned correctly, but it really did pay off a lot.
That was great. Have you ever considered making a Torizo skip possible in Super Metroid? In PAL or in TAS?
What?
I noticed that door closes right when you get to it. I was just wondering if you're going to make a Torizo skip possible as a sequence breaking trick.
I don't think that would be that good of
That's
an
a-
idea, honestly.
It's just a
I
thought.
don't know.
I mean, I don't think that's really an intended trick in the PAL version.
I know it's not intended, but I
It's
just
all-
wondered. Anyways, that's just me being a fan.
Right now, I'm trying to be focusing all of my attention to all of the contents that is still missing. I just want to make sure that I'm paying into the right direction. So,
One thing I wanted to say is your background art is incredible. Like the parallax scrolling, the triple layer scrolling, spot.
yes, those are, I think those are from Fusion. They are slightly tweaked to look like something else. But yes, they are pretty much disguised, reused material from all places. But they look good in that combination of colors.
It seems like you like what made you decide to make the speed booster so mobile? It seems even more mobile than in like the GBA droids.
It is definitely faster.
I had to change it because the original speed looked very slow in this screen size. If you compare the screen size that is 320 by 240 to the Game Boy Advance screen, it gives you the perception that Samus might be running faster in the Game Boy Advance version. It's actually the same speed, but having a whole screen makes it look like it's actually slower. I try to achieve kind of like the Super Metroid feeling that you're going really fast, and it's also a fun tool to speedrun. It's really fun to just run fast. I actually left a whole place, a whole room in the mining facility that is going to be appearing later. It's just have fun running. It's just that. It's no puzzles, no enemies to destroy, nothing. Just have some fun running. It's nice.
I just want to say, I actually
Here's
really think
another
this
thing I was wondering.
Autoed puzzle is actually really fun, honestly. I think it's a nice, it's, oh, I thought I was going to run into that thing. But I thought this was like a nice change of pace
Whoa,
as
what?
opposed to the normal, it's supposed to be what you're normally doing.
Holy crap, this is awesome.
See if I can
Doc,
get the-
you are
see-
awesome.
See if I can get the fling right.
I'm actually looking at the stream and there is some sort of delay, but yes. You're actually controlling Skippy, the funny auto.
Wait, did you say Skippy, the funny Autod?
That's my in development.
Too small.
It's the nickname I gave this little thing when it was in development.
Ah, went just a frame too early. Oh well.
This is incredible.
Thanks. It was really fun to go.
I
In
bet.
its original design, this place was supposed to be. You were supposed to control a crane, some sort of robotic arm crane that comes from the ceiling, and you actually had to grab the super missiles with that crane and release them into several key spots to actually open up your way. Oh, damn it! So close. But yes, this this way felt a little bit more more interactive, more like it felt much more dynamic, and I didn't have to draw a crane sprite or whatever. It was easier to produce, and it felt better, I actually got inspired by this when I was playing Shadow Warrior, the classic version, and you get to control a small RC car in one of the levels, and then it's fun to control little things, to do stuff, to open up passages to other stuff.
Here's a question: have you ever played any Super Metroid hacks? And if so, did you like get inspired by anything from them?
No, I didn't have the patience or the skills to actually be good at any hacks. They are mostly extremely difficult. I hear that the Super Metroid redesign is actually very good, but I haven't played it myself.
Redesign is not one I would recommend for the first hack. There's some I could point you towards that are just kind of fun and silly, but there's one that came out relatively recently that's been rebalanced. It's called Z Factor. That could be a good first one.
Thank you. I will appreciate if you send me a link to those patches.
I can link you to the whole site. Have you heard of Metroid Construction?
Yes. I used to look for level editors and sound reapers some time ago. It's good to know that that place exists. It had a very talented community of level editors and programmers.
Yeah, I'm actually a member of it myself.
Oh, nice.
I haven't been doing really much hacking lately. I've been mostly just hanging around the community. But they're very great people, especially people who've been doing crazy things for Metroid lately.
Yes. The last thing I do remember having seen was the debug menu for Fusion. But
Yep.
I think that was something that was already there in the first place. But I'm eager to see what new things these years have been developed.
One of the coolest new things is custom music has finally become a thing.
Ooh.
You can code in whatever. I've actually done it myself. I've ported. I did a bad port of the Zero Mission Norfair theme.
So does it
Into Super
accept
Metroid?
any other ROMs music, or you can actually compose music yourself in a specific?
You can compose music
format?
yourself.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, you do.
Ooh,
Some assembly code.
That speedball thingy was a very good trick.
Oh, I got hit right at the end of that. Quit hitting me. You speed boost.
Yeah, Legacy, actually, yeah. Nekoishi is a friend of mine in the chat, Heartthrobbing Koishi on Twitch. He recommended a pretty good, it's called Vanilla, when they use, like, all the original tile sets. It's called Legacy, that's another one I could recommend to you. It's nice and easy. It feels a lot like the original.
As long as it doesn't require mandatory bomb jumping or very mad skills to actually be able to enjoy the game, I'm cool with it.
Nope, it does not.
Awesome.
Yeah. Here. Back. Let's get off the topic of Super Metroid. That's not why we're here. Anyways, back to here. I noticed that it seems like you kept the outside of the ruins more like the old, while the inside is the new stuff.
Yes, I did try to come up with something original like the other two areas, and by that time I did fail miserably, so I said, fuck it, let's remake the old one. That's really good in the original, so it's mostly redone from scratch, taking the original essence, and it seems to be it looks good,
Yes, very good. So, here's something I actually wanted to compliment you on. Making it like in Super Metroid where you can still wall jump with the space jump. Thank you.
That was actually a very recent addition, too. Initially, when he put space jump in, that was not possible.
The space jump was a little bit different than we know it. It was much more Zero Mission-like. The first thing that I did when I started coding the second phase of Torizo was to completely change the space jump mechanics. It was using the old rule of cancelling the vertical speed whenever you change from a space jump to shooting normal jump. So actually, spin jumping in the air and trying to it was terrible. Whenever you try to spin jump from the normal jump, it wouldn't gain any vertical momentum at all. So it was very frustrating to try to make a mid-air fight fun, you know. So basically, Torizo pretty much shaped up the space jump as you can play it right now. It's dynamic and you can actually do stuff in the air with it. More than just going from point A to point B.
How did you balance the super missiles with the Metroid fights to make sure that they didn't become too overpowered?
I actually do it the other way around. I balance the health based on the missile damage.
Alright.
That was a little bit of noise.
Kirby's doing something, I don't know what.
Kirby, stop making noise.
Anyway.
Do you have an estimate of how far away you are from being done?
It's still a little while. Like I'd say, probably another 10 minutes.
We must be running a little more overestimate or something.
I'm going by my live split
nice
timer,
ones.
which is at
This
35,
is
and
good.
most of mine are clocking at about 45.
Oh, that's weird then. I wonder why he's asking then.
Probably because he doesn't know where the end of it is.
Oh, so we can know when to time it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyways, so Doc, here's a question: Has anyone at Nintendo ever talked to you at all? Has there been any worry about legal issues? That's something that a lot of people in the chat were wondering.
No, not even good news or bad news. And that's kind of a good thing, I guess.
No news is good news.
I usually like to think that I imagine that somewhere does know that the project exists, but it's fantasizing, you know. At least I didn't get a cease and desist order.
Oh yeah, I would cry a little inside.
I would cry on the outside, inside, and then inside.
Inside, outside, upside down. Maybe this time next year, if we have another Metroid Marathon, we'll be able to have you in for a commentary on the full game.
Ah, yes, that would be definitely awesome.
So, since we're getting close to the end here, is there anything you wanted to say, just like say to the community as a whole?
Thank you for being patient. If I were to follow any other fan game at all, I wouldn't be that patient. These guys are awesome. They are supporting. They always have good suggestions, and their criticism is towards getting a good, awesome game. And I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for sticking around and for playing this little labor of love that I still try to complete. This game is awesome thanks to you and for you guys. So enjoy it, and if you have any ideas, suggestions, comments, or just whatever, you're invited to the MGR forums or the blog or wherever you can contact me. You're all welcome.
Okay, this is the one I really want to hit.
Alright, serious time for a second then.
There, I think I got it.
No marathon is complete without a serious time.
Got it.
At least this game doesn't have any specific place where you can actually pull out the Kirby yet.
Where you can what?
Where you can pull out a Kirby.
Whoa.
Hey.
Is that an actual area of the research station?
Yes.
Or like of the research team?
Oh my god. This Metroid was
Wow.
just
I never.
okay, old
Oh, double
strats.
Metroid fight? Jeez.
Nah.
But yeah, Doc, that's a really inspiring message. Thanks for it. Here's something else. For anyone who's trying to make their own game, fan game, real game, Super Metroid hack, what advice do you have for them?
Well, one of the most dangerous things that will destroy your project, whatever it is the over-ambition. Just try to start with something simple, completable, and if it works, try to make it better, and start with that. I have been developing stuff before M2R. None of them was actually that. It was polished and all of that, but none of them were popular or successful at all. The thing is, this started as something that I could manage by that time, and it evolved into what you are actually playing now. Just start small, don't be over-ambitious, do something that you can actually complete, and just yes, make it possible. Good things are going to be coming whenever you have something in your hand that's actually working.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And though I don't have much game design experience myself, it's not something I was originally going to get into it, but I decided I'd rather focus on music, which is what I really want to do. But I've never been able to get too far in game design. I think I always have kind of bit off more than I can chew.
It's a very complex and passionate discipline. Sometimes you should try to do some small experimental game to promote your music. It would be a nice excuse to get you into game design.
Yeah. And you've done most of the music yourself in this as well, haven't you?
Yes, all of the arrangements of M2R are done by myself, except the one that was made by Darren, the breeding grounds of the first area. I only adapted the sounds for the sound set that's using right now M2R. But yes, it's remixes of classic songs reimagined into. It was. You might have noticed that some of these songs are not as complex or as elaborate as their original counterparts, and that's kind of like the motive. For example, the Temple Grounds song that appears on Area 3. If you remember the original, it has a very intricate choral arrangements. There are many instruments making different parts of the sequences and stuff. This kind of goes with the more simplistic philosophy that a 2D game has compared to the 3D one. Metroid Prime is an awesome series of games that they have plenty of details in their environments. They create living places. They do show up in the logs as complex functional places, and the music that accompanies those experiences is really very fitting for that kind of complexity. In this case, we are seeing a 2D plane that represents something that should be more complex. I try to give that approach to the music too. It is a homage to the original, but it's a little bit simpler and minimalistic regarding the elements and the melodies and how many things are sounding at the same time, and still feeling Metroidish with the choice of timbres and tones and how things are developed. Does it make any sense, or
That makes sense to me.
Okay, if Kirby's
I
around,
mean, it's
let him
also
know
another
that-
part of don't bite off more than you can.
Yeah, if Kirby's around, let him know time's gonna be very soon.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
to all the awesome people in the chat, thank you very much for your kind words.
Well, unless there's a problem, I figure we can keep you around until they're starting to set up for the next one. I figure we have a few minutes till our estimate's done. Maybe do another Q&A session with the chat. Would that be all right, Kirby?
Time. Yes, sub 37 in game.
Real time 44:30.
Nice. That was a decent run.
44:30.
AM2R demo world record.
I
AM2R
wasn't
demo
able to
world
watch the
record
entire
hype.
thing from setting up, but from the parts I've seen, looks really cool. Thanks a lot, Dragondarch, and thanks a lot, Dr. M, for joining us on this call.
Thank you very much
That's
for inviting me, sir.
44:30. Yeah, okay.
No love for me, Kirby.
I know.
I see how it is.
Thanks a lot, everyone. And
No,
thanks a lot,
thanks, man,
everyone.
for,
Be sure to follow the link that I will paste in the chat right now. Well, for you guys 20 seconds ago. Check that blogspot out. That's where you can see information about AM2R and download the demo as well. So yeah, I think we're okay with doing a short Q&A session while we set up for the next Super Metroid run. But I'll let you guys know when we should probably start up the last question.
Okay.
Because we're
right.
kind of mostly set up. We have some time for 2 or 3 questions probably. So
All right.
for it.
All right, chat, go wild. See which of you can get your questions in. I'm sure this is going to end well.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you got to come and hang out with us today, Doc.
It's a pleasure, and it's really. I'm really lucky that my girlfriend went dinner with some friends with my daughter, so I'm actually not busy being a father right now.
I do have one thing I'd like to ask you. Can you finally change my name on the forums? I've been sitting as Pokemon 3 for a couple years now.
Okay, let me know. I can do it manually. You will be the first one.
All right. All right. The chat wants to know, how did playing the Prime series change the way you looked at making AM2R?
Really not that much. M2R started both as an engine as a concept when I hadn't played any Prime games at all. It did influence me to actually make a logbook, so I could give some places and backstory, some context. But that's pretty much it. Not that much. Maybe that's why most fans have already expressed that it feels like a very authentic Metroid game. It doesn't try to add newer stuff to the formula, and that's what it is. It's just a pure fun 2D Metroid game with no other gimmicks or stuff mechanics wise. Yes, logbook.
All right, here's another one. If
Speaking of the
by
logbook,
some
I'll show them
twist of fate, right? If by some twist of fate you were ever asked by Nintendo to work on an official Metroid game, would you do it?
That would be if for some reason the planets align and they actually consider all the logistics that would have to be considered, because I have a family and we have to move to supposedly to another country. If all of that would be considered, I would say, fuck yeah, please. That's a way of summing up.
That's as good as answer as any. Here's another good one. Who do you try to balance it for? New players to new to Metroid games, inexperienced Metroid players, or expert Metroid players?
Up until the first demo, I was aiming for the general Metroid audience. But when I started seeing YouTube videos of the first demo, of people dying repeatedly at the first alpha, I said, well, I maybe should have to broaden up the audience a little bit. There's people that are going to be missing a fairly good game just because of they can't handle the learning curve. So yes, from that point on, I started with the playtest sessions, asking friends of mine just to come over my place and try the game out, failing, and just tweaking stuff to make them feel more comfortable learning the gameplay until the more advanced Metroids they actually are harder. But the whole first area was re-engineered from the first demo to the second one to be more gentle and more informative about how the game mechanics work. It's a very complex and difficult game to explain to the non-Metroid fan. There are many things going on, and they actually ask, why the hell does this huge, awesome android roll into a wall? It's unpractical. And they're quite right.
All right. I think I'm going to have one more question from the chat, and then I'll close it up with a question of my own. So, chat, get on it. Give me one last super deep question to ask the doc. Sorry, I just got to wait for the Twitch delay. All right, this works. I guess this is suitably epic. Why can't Metroid crawl?
That is a very good question.
All right. My last question from you is that would you ever, after making AM2R and finishing it, are you considering possibly a career into game design? Do you think that you like it enough?
I have no idea. I will continue making my personal projects. I will try to do stuff that's interesting and playable for the people. But I have been suggested many times to do something original and put it on Kickstarter. Who knows? I might be able to do so or not, but time will tell. Right now, all of my energy is focused on finishing this one, and that's pretty much it. Who knows? I really hope that I might be able to someday.
Cool. Are you guys done with the Q&A? We have time for maybe one more question. We're about set up for Super Metroid, so.
No, I think that's about it, Kirby. I think we're pretty much done.
All right. That's cool. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no. Doc, it has been amazing having you.
Thank you.
I'll definitely go back and listen to the entire thing. I kind of missed out.
Yeah, we'll definitely highlight this.
Yes, especially since my internet actually didn't go down for once.
Oh, wow, that's a miracle.
Not during the Metroid 2 run or during AM2R did we have any picnics. Hype.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
All right, so no picnics.
I'd love to keep talking, but we do have to move on. So,
All right.
Thanks a lot for your time again. Thanks a lot, Dragondarch, for all of your runs. Thank you, Kenta, for your commentary, and thank you very much, Dr. M, for this awesome demo that I should really try out.
You better do.
Thank you for your time. Yeah. So, thank you very much. And I'm going to be cutting.